The exact numbers of people executed in China is classified as a state secret. Occasionally death penalty cases are posted publicly by the judiciary, as in certain high-profile cases. Capital punishment was one of the classical 5 punishments of China's dynastic period. Because of the wide application of capital offenses in Chinese criminal law, substantial use of capital punishment, and the hidden numbers of the execution rate, the Chinese death penalty system has been criticized by many international organizations which make an appeal to ethics and human rights, without always being well informed about the historical and cultural conditions in China. In Chinese philosophy, capital punishment was supported by the legalists, but its application was tempered by the Confucians, who preferred rehabilitation and mercy over capital punishment. Confucius did not oppose capital punishment absolutely, but did take the view that in a well-ordered society based on moral persuasion, capital punishment would become unnecessary. By both confirmed and estimated data, the number of executions from capital punishment in China is far higher than any other country, while the number per capita is comparable to Vietnam and Singapore, and lower than several other countries, including Saudi Arabia, Iran and Iraq. The number of executions has dropped steadily in the 2000s, and significantly since 2007, when the Supreme People's Court regained the power to review all death sentences. For instance, the Duihua Foundation estimates that China executed 12,000 people in 2002, 6,500 people in 2007, and roughly 2,400 in 2013 and 2014. Given conservative and variable estimates of executions in China, executions in China account for more than 58% in 2009 and 65% in 2010 of those worldwide. According to the death penalty in China, Reforms and its Future, it also represents the most conservative estimate of death sentences and executions in China due to the following accounting rules. When there is doubt of accuracy, figures were excluded. Where 2 conflicting reports existed, the lower figure was used. When a combined figure of death sentences and prison sentences was given, only 1 death sentence was recorded. And when a group was sentenced to death, only 1 sentence was entered. On the 31st of January 2024, China executes the couple that killed 2 innocent children. The couple throw 2 young toddlers out of a 15th-story window in a brutal case that sent shockwaves through the nation. Zhang Bo, the father of the children, and Ye Chengchen were previously found guilty of killing the 2-year-old girl and 1-year-old boy in 2020. Zhang and Ye were sentenced to death in December 2021. Zhang had begun an affair with Ye and later divorced his wife, and began conspiring to kill his children. Zhang was the father of the 2 toddlers who were killed, a 2-year-old daughter and 1-year-old son, he shared with his ex-wife Chen Momu. Ye and Zhang had an extramarital affair, the courts found, and Zhang left his wife to be with her. Multiple levels of China's judiciary upheld that the pair killed the children, because they were seen as an obstacle to their burgeoning relationship. In its review of the case, the Supreme People's Court found that Zhang concealed the fact that he was married with children when he and Ye began the affair. When Ye found out about Zhang's family, she continued to date him. Eventually, in February 2020, Zhang and Chen reached a divorce settlement that gave custody of the pair's 2-year-old daughter to Chen, while the 1-year-old son would live with Zhang until he turned 6, according to Xinhua. After turning 6, the boy would be cared for by his mother, with Zhang agreeing to pay child support. Although the divorce settlement was accepted by both parties, Ye allegedly believed that the 2 children would be an obstacle to her and Zhang getting married, and would be a burden on their future life together. Zhang and Ye conspired to kill the children and decided that they would make the murders look like accidental falls. He allegedly urged Zhang to commit the murders multiple times and gave him a deadline to carry out the killings. Because Zhang's daughter was in the custody of his ex-wife, he had to convince Chen to send their daughter to his home under false pretenses. On the afternoon of November 2, 2020, the children were playing on a bay windowsill in Zhang's apartment when their father grabbed their legs and lifted them out of the 15th floor window. Zhang's daughter died from a head injury, while his 1-year-old son died of respiratory and circulatory failure from multiple organ failures, Xinhua reports. The courts determined that both Zhang and Yi played major roles in the intentional homicide and should be punished equally, adding that their motives were extremely despicable and particularly cruel. The Intermediate People's Court of Chongqing found the pair guilty and sentenced them to death on December 28, 2021. The couple appealed the ruling to the Chongqing Higher People's Court, who upheld the original ruling on May 11, 2023. After a first trial conducted by an Intermediate People's Court concludes with a death sentence, a double appeals process must follow. The first appeal is conducted by a High People's Court if the condemned appealed to it, and since 2007, another appeal is conducted automatically by the Supreme People's Court of the People's Republic of China in Beijing. To prevent the circumstances in which the defendant is proved innocent after the death penalty, an obviously irrevocable punishment has been administered. When a case involving the death penalty is sent to the space for mandatory review, the case is delivered to one of the court's 5 divisions according to the geographic origin of the case or, in some cases, the type of crime involved. The space's 2nd Criminal Division is dedicated to handling review of some of the most sensitive cases. Each case is then assigned to a panel of 3 judges, one of whom is designated as the principal case manager. Since 2012, judges are also required to interview defendants before deciding whether or not to confirm a death sentence. The judges write reports summarizing the case, discuss the case, and then report the decision to the division head, space vice president, and finally the space president. China's Supreme Court had called the couple's motives extremely malicious, highlighting their cruel methods. The couple were executed in the southwestern city of Chongqing on Wednesday, the 31st of January 2024. It is not clear how the execution was carried out, although death sentences in China are mostly carried out by lethal injection or a firing squad. The execution was hailed by some Chinese social media users as a punishment that fits more serious crimes. A study published in 2020 shows 68% of Chinese citizens are in favor of death penalty. China does not provide transparent information on the total number of executions, but the country is believed to be the world's top executioner, with thousands of people executed and sentenced to death each year. Thank you for watching Death Row.